Good Sunday morning, everyone. It is Sunday, December 29th, 2024, and I hope you guys are all having a great weekend so far, and as well as a great start to your work week. And in today's weather forecast, we are going to be going over what we can expect for the next couple of weeks, which we are continuing to track the storm that just brought a major tornado outbreak yesterday. So we definitely got to watch that storm very closely, as it will continue to bring some impacts to even parts of the Ohio Valley, as strong gusty winds will be likely as that storm continues to dissipate. And not only will we be keeping an eye on the rest of that storm system closely, but we'll also need to watch for the potential of a major winter storm slash ice storm by the time we get into January, as January is sure known as its cold and snowy conditions. So we definitely got to watch January very closely, as I am expecting a few major snow ice storm events to unfold, which we will be going over that. So make sure to stay tuned till the end of the video so that way you guys know what to expect. And of course, make sure to subscribe to the channel, as we will continue to keep you updated with the latest. And of course, things are still likely to change, so make sure to click that notification bell, as we will also continue to keep you updated with the latest as well. Don't forget to leave a like as well. This help out more than you know. And of course, leave any questions, comments, or concerns that you guys have down below. Feel free to leave anything down below, and I will get to those right after today's weather forecast. But let's first start off by talking about the rest of the storm that just brought a huge tornado outbreak to parts of the southern United States yesterday, especially the deep south, and as well as the southeast, and even parts there of Texas even experienced a lot of severe weather yesterday. And you guys can already tell that storm has already shifted well off to the east now, which is going to continue to bring some severe weather for today. And the interesting part is that we do need to watch a pretty good portion there of the southeast closely for maybe a few isolated spin up tornadoes. And not only do we need to watch for tornadoes there, but we also got a chance of maybe an isolated brief spin up tornado or two as we head throughout today. And that's especially areas anywhere from Cleveland, Ohio, all the way back down there into parts there of West Virginia. So definitely make sure you are keeping an eye on the weather if you do live in Ohio. Now, I do know some of you guys on my channel who do live in Ohio, and keep in mind that this tornado threat is nothing you should complain about, as the chances of a tornado are very low. But you should still be on high alert if you do live in Ohio, as a few isolated spin up tornadoes, like I said, will be possible, but so low it's definitely not to complain about or even let your guard down about. But we still need to watch for that potential of large hail down here in the deep south, especially areas like Columbia, all the way back down there into Tallahassee. And the main concern, or at least the biggest concern today, is going to be those damaging winds, as we do have a large 15% risk for damaging winds across much of the area. So definitely make sure you are also watching for damaging winds, and where you guys are included in that brown color, you guys may also get a few tornadoes, especially areas around Columbia. So definitely make sure to keep that in mind, as we still could be seeing a few large hailstones for today, and as well as some pretty big tornadoes. But like I said, chances of that happening are pretty low. And if you guys are asking if I will go live for today, like I said on my community post, I may try to go live, especially if things do start to ramp up a little bit, but it's probably not likely, as things do not look to be as concerning as yesterday. So we'll keep an eye on it, but definitely not looking at anything in the way of significant severe weather or anything like that, thankfully. But we will definitely continue to watch it very closely for you. And not only will that storm be bringing those chances for severe weather down there in the southeast, but we will also need to watch the Ohio Valley closely, especially this morning, for those chances of strong gusty winds up to 50, maybe even some isolated 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts across parts there of West Virginia, back down there into the higher elevations there of North Carolina and Tennessee. And you guys over here, let's say along the Wabash River, you guys don't really look to see the highest wind gusts, but you guys could still see anywhere from about 40 to even some areas potentially even seeing 50-mile-per-hour wind gusts as we head into the later morning hours for today. So definitely make sure you are securing your objects, as we even have wind advisories in effect for much of the Ohio Valley, and we could even be seeing a few isolated power outages in parts of the Ohio Valley. So it's always good to be prepared ahead of schedule by securing objects, and of course having a generator with you also is a good idea as well. And those wind gusts are going to continue to shift eastward as we head later this afternoon and as well as into the evening hours, and some of these wind gusts even look to continue towards midnight, as we are going to continue to see a lot of those wind gusts continue across places like Louisville, Cincinnati, back over there into Columbus, Ohio, and some areas might get close to 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts later this afternoon and as well as into the nighttime hours. So we definitely gotta watch later today very closely, as some wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour may be possible, especially where you see those darker orange and as well as those red colors. So we'll definitely keep an eye on it closely for you. And then the next thing we're going to have to watch for is going to be an ice storm, maybe even a snowstorm event by the time we get into January. And the latest from the GFS model is actually pointing out a major ice storm event across the lower Ohio Valley by the time we get into Sunday, January 5th, which will actually only be about a week away from now. So we are still heading far enough out to where things will likely change with this system, because January actually starts on Wednesday this week, and like I said, that's pretty much going to be the end of this week when we will see that potential for maybe an ice storm across the Ohio Valley. Keep in mind that things will likely still change with this system, so make sure to subscribe to the channel, as we will continue to keep you updated with the latest. But I do think this is still going to be a possibility, as we will likely see this at some point in January. Obviously, still some question marks on when it will happen and where exactly it occurs, and even how much of snowfall or ice we see. But like I said, I definitely do think an ice storm or snow event will definitely happen at some point in January, so we definitely will keep an eye on it closely. And not only will we need to be watching for that area, we also will need to watch for even another ice storm across the Mid-Atlantic, which will actually be one day after that ice storm across the Ohio Valley, and this is actually caused by the same storm system, as you can probably tell right there, as places like Washington, D.C., up there into Maryland, even down there into Winchester, Virginia. You guys definitely need to make sure you guys are being on high alert for this too as well. Now, this is a little bit farther out, but like I said, though, it is definitely something to continue to watch for, and of course keep in mind, as things are definitely going to start to ramp up potentially as we head into the first 2 weeks of January. So definitely something to keep an eye on. Like I said, it's still going to remain uncertain, as there is going to still be a lot of question marks about this, but I definitely do think this is going to be a possibility, so make sure to at least be keeping an eye on the weather by the time we get into the first 2 weeks of January. And then after that, we will be tracking a major Arctic blast by the time we get into January, not January, but January 10th time frame, so pretty much right around there. And as you guys can see, right around January 10th, we will be tracking a huge Arctic blast, and I'm sorry if I accidentally said December. This is, like I said, going to be right around the January 10th time frame, where we're pretty much going to be seeing a lot of that cold air surging on down, as a lot of those temperatures, especially the lows, during that time frame will likely be in the negatives across upper Midwest, Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and as well as into the Northeast, as a lot of negatives are definitely appearing to be a possibility. So definitely keep that in mind, as even some 30s could reach as far down south as the Panhandle of Florida. So we definitely do need to watch a lot of those areas very closely, as I do think that we could be seeing even a polar vortex unfolding either during the first 2 weeks of January or so. So we definitely will need to keep an eye on it very closely, as that is definitely going to be a possibility. And then if we compare that to your wind chills during that time frame, like I said, much of the northern United States, and as well as the Great Lakes, Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, and as well as the Northeast will likely see wind chills in the negatives during that time frame. So make sure you are paying attention, as a lot of this is definitely going to be on the frigid side of things, and this is also low enough to where we could see a frostbite in minutes. So definitely make sure you have your winter gear all ready for January, as January is definitely known for its frigid and snowy conditions. And if we look at your total rainfall, not total rainfall, but this is your total freezing rain, okay? So a little bit different than your total rainfall, but if we look at your total freezing rain, as you guys can see, we will be tracking that huge ice storm across the lower Ohio Valley all the way into the Mid-Atlantic, as anywhere from about 1/10 of an inch of ice all the way up there towards 1/2 an inch of ice is going to be possible across a lot of these areas. So definitely make sure you are paying attention, especially if you live in the lower Ohio Valley, which I do think the bullseye for how much ice can be expected will probably be southern Missouri and as well as southern Indiana, as parts of those areas could get as high as around 1/2 an inch of ice or so. So we definitely need to watch those areas very closely. Now, like I said, things are obviously looking to change with the storm system still, but I definitely do think it is something that we do need to continue to watch for. So definitely make sure to keep that in mind, as we will continue to keep you updated with the latest. And if we also look at your ice storm impacts, most areas are expecting anywhere from about 1/10 of an inch of ice all the way to 1/2 of inch of ice. So if we look at both the red and as well as the orange colors, starting off with the orange colors, this is pretty much anywhere from 1/10 to 1/4 inch of ice, and what that does is that it limits travel. Any untreated paved surfaces will likely be glazed with ice, and scattered power outages will also be more likely to as well. So we definitely got to watch for that closely if this ice storm were to happen. And of course, even areas in the lower Ohio Valley are even expected to maybe even reach 1/2 an inch of ice, as more widespread power outages are likely down trees, extremely dangerous to walk and drive on untreated paved surfaces that will likely be covered in ice. And what that means is that it's definitely not safe to walk around when there's that much ice on those surfaces. So we definitely need to watch this very closely, guys, and of course make sure to be on high alert for an ice storm in January, as like I said, from what I'm seeing right now, it's definitely appearing more likely that we'll see one. But like I said, things could still change, so make sure to click that subscribe button and as well as that notification bell down below, as we will continue to keep you updated with the latest. Now let's look at your total rainfall and as well as your total snowfall. Starting off with the total rainfall, we are expecting a lot of rainfall across the Northwest, as you can see, as anywhere from 1 to 4 inches will be likely widespread, with maybe even some higher totals possibly getting up there towards 1/2 foot. While areas over here in the eastern United States can also expect there to be a lot of rainfall, as parts there, the Ohio Valley, could also get a lot of rainfall. Now keep in mind that some of this is considered ice/snow, so obviously not all of this is just going to be rain, but most of this is definitely needing to be watched closely, as we will likely get a lot of rainfall even across across the deep south too as well. So we'll definitely keep an eye on it, especially as we get into the January 10th time frame. And like I said, a lot of that rainfall is definitely going to be considered snowfall, as we are going to be tracking a huge swath of maybe around a foot to maybe even up towards 2 feet in some areas, especially up there near Watertown, New York. So definitely be on high alert, as a massive snowstorm event could unfold across this entire area, including areas from Pittsburgh all the way back over there towards Indy, and as well as over there into parts there of northern Missouri. So we definitely got to watch this very closely as we get into the first 2 weeks of January. So make sure to subscribe to the channel, as we will keep you updated with the latest on the system. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed today's weather forecast. I apologize for not going live yesterday for the biggest parts of this event. I did not realize I was gonna be so busy, but still consider subscribing to the channel, as we will continue to keep you updated with the latest. Don't forget to leave a like as well. Those help out more than you know. And of course, leave any questions, comments, or concerns that you guys have down below. Feel free to leave anything down below, and I'll get to those comments in just a second. And I hope you guys all have a great rest of your weekend, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.